Hey guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today we are doing part 2 of my unfinished series. So just in case you missed it, I'll post part 1 up here in the card. You can click that little eye and go and check out the first part of this video that kind of explains what this is and what's happening. But if you've already watched this video, without further ado, we're just going to dive right in. We have The Forest of Hands and Teeth by Carrie Ryan. I read this first one like 2 years ago. This is basically kind of like the movie The Village. It's about a girl who stays in this like camp slash villagey thing. We're in the future, but like zombies have kind of taken over, so we've resorted to like these camps and shelters, and so everything has kind of gone back into an olden way, or like hand washing our clothes, and we don't have electricity and all that kind of stuff. And so she's never gone outside of this village because you could get killed and eaten by a zombie, and then of course one day she ends up having to. It's not super scary. It's like a little bit scary, but not super scary. I really loved it. I thought the love story was great. It was kind of heartbreaking. And then the next 2 books kind of are set in the same world but with different characters, so I'm curious to see how they go. Then we have Winter House. This is basically about, I think they're 2 orphans, I can't remember entirely. The lead character gets like sent to this house, and she's going to stay there for the winter. She's being sent there by, I think, by her aunt and uncle that are taking care of her, and she learns all these mysterious things about this winter house, and it's kind of like a middle grade wintry cozy mystery, and I really like it, so I want to read the next 2. Then we have Fate of the Fallen by Kel Cade, which is one of the books that has stuck with me the longest. I read this 2 years ago and I absolutely adored it. The audio is fantastic. It's a kingdom, like royalty style fantasy, but it has so much detail in it, and it was hilarious. I've never laughed so hard as a fantasy before. There are tropes in here that they play off of, but they get totally like flipped around. Like they purposefully put in these really heavy tropes, and then they like swap them around. And there are gods and goddesses in here, and there are goblins and elves, and like, oh, it's so good. It's kind of like a traveler's journey story. Someone's on a mission to do something to protect a kingdom, and it is, I just can't talk about it enough, and I found out the second book comes out this fall, and I'm so excited! I think it's going to be at least a trilogy, but hopefully more. Then we have Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is just a sci-fi story, a spaceship ragtag team of characters. I don't want to give away too much. I have read the first book twice now, so I need to read the rest of them now that the 3rd book is out. I was kind of waiting so I could kind of read them all at once. I love Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff's writing style together especially, and I really like a good sci-fi read as well. Then we have the Wicked Lovely series. This is a 5-book fae series, and the first book I really liked. It has the whole spring, winter, summer court thing about it. There was a nice romance in here. It's been a while since I've read it, so I probably will reread the first one. This is a fairly popular series. Back when it came out, it's definitely a lot older, but I've been really into fairies, so I'm game. We have Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. This is a kingdom fantasy about a girl that is an assassin. It has been a long time since I read book 1. It's a huge fantasy series. I'm very intimidated by it, but I'll get to it soon. Other Worlds by Jason Segel. This is a virtual reality video game style book. I did really enjoy the first one. It was very detailed and very well thought out, and the ending was super good, so I'm definitely going to keep going. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. So technically this shouldn't be on here because I've read the complete first trilogy, and that's wrapped up, and then the next trilogy is set in 10 years in the future. So it is part of it, but I do have a completed story in the books. So this is set on Mars in the future. We're segregated into colors, and certain colors get to do certain things and certain colors don't, and there's like red and gold and silver and blue and all those kinds of things. And our lead character Darrow is a red, and he starts to kind of see the imbalance of what's happening, and I don't want to give away too much because there's so much in here. It has somewhat Hunger Games vibes. It doesn't have a heavy sci-fi feeling until like the 2nd or 3rd book, but it has a really great brutal school setting. This is an adult series, super brutal, really intense. Can't wait to read the next set because I absolutely adore these, some of my favorite of all time. Sea of Darkness. This is a vampire pirate series. Read the first one last year for Scallywagathon, and I absolutely loved it. It was just a total random grab. I didn't hear anything about it. I just saw it, liked the cover, I liked vampire pirates, and it was fabulous. Fast-paced, fun, and romantic, and I need to read more. now. Cirque Du Freak by Darren Shan. I've slowly read these throughout the years. This is about a little boy that becomes a vampire's assistant. I think I'm on book 3 now. It's like 11 book series. Really great. Middle grade, but it does have a darker, somewhat scarier vibe. Maybe not for every middle grader, but I am really enjoying them as an adult. There's like a circus aspect to it, and it's very well done. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I have all of the books. Have I been reading them? No, I have the first one. I need to reread the first one again before I continue on. I loved it. I loved the movie. I read it super fast and then I just didn't keep reading, and I don't know why, but there's like 6 more books now. So don't be like me. Keep up with your books before they get out of control. The Vine Witch, I read this one last year for my readathon, I think, which was the Not So Scary-a-thon. So this is about a witch that lives on a vineyard and she takes care of the vineyard and basically creates this really beautiful wine, and something happens to her and she ends up having to come back and someone else is taking over the vineyard, and so there's like a love-hate relationship there. There's romance, there's witchy goodness, there's talks of food and wine. I really loved it. It kind of has the vibes of being like a heavy like sexy romance in the beginning, but it is not. It's like a straight up story. So if you think that's where it's going and you don't like that, keep going, because it has a lot of detail about magic and things in there that I really liked, and I just thought that it was beautifully written. So then we have Roar, which I also read last year for a book club. This is about a girl that basically has elemental powers. I love like that elemental witchy power dynamic. I don't want to give away too much else, but basically it's got an elemental witch aspect to it. There's a nice romance in here. The 3rd book comes out this year, so I can get all caught up if I play my cards right. So lastly, I want to talk about Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. This is the final book, Dark Dawn. I need to read this as well as the 2nd book, which is God's Grave. I absolutely loved the first one. It's very bizarre that I read it last year. This is an adult series about a girl that goes to assassin school, and it's brutal and it's dark and it's tense, but it is so well done. I'm in love with Jay Kristoff's writing style, so I can't wait to read more. I really, really enjoyed it. Last year was one of my favorite books, so hopefully I can get to the rest of them soon. So for now, those are all the unfinished series that I have. I hope to cut this number in half at least by the end of the year, including any new series that I wind up starting and just getting more on top of things. Let me know how good you guys are about keeping up with series. Do you wind up just DNFing and giving up completely? I feel like the further I get into a series, the more I like it, so I tend to hold on to them for longer, but I do want to be better about reading things quicker right away so that I don't have this huge number of unfinished things hanging over my head. Let me know which one of these you think I should get to sooner rather than later if you stayed tuned for this long, and thank you so much for watching. See you next time on The Bright Side. Bye!